Hello everyone. Um, got quite a lot to get through today, so I'll just get on with it. Hope you're all well. First up, I received an email about a week ago from Dr. David A. Hughes. Now, Dr. David Hughes has been with Lincoln University, and I met him a couple of times. He came to a couple of the Richard D. Hall talks and stuff, and he's been very outspoken about various things such as 9/11, and he's written papers for the International Journal of International Studies. I forget the exact name of the journal, but anyway, he mentioned 9/11 and he mentioned Dr. Judy Wood, and he got a peer-reviewed article published a few years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago, and he's been working very diligently over quite a period of time, and he's now produced a book on COVID-19, and he's also been doing quite a few interviews about this and stuff. So I've included links to the book here on academia.edu. It's also been published, I think, at Springer, and he managed to get this grant to get it published, but all that went to the publisher so that it can be downloaded for free from the publisher's website. But it's better if you download it from here because you can track the downloads to see how it's doing. And it's been doing quite well recently. I think it's got quite a few followers there, and so forth. Now David's been in difficulty. He's going to be made redundant. I don't know exactly why. I mean, I know some universities have been making staff redundant due to changes in studying patterns and so forth. But anyway, David has also made a video about Dr. Judy Wood's research as well. I think he's going to release that soon when this book has sort of built up a following. Because he has a young family, so it's going to be difficult for him. And I sent him some money to support his work. Please consider supporting his work. You can read the book here for free. COVID-19, Psychological Operations and the War for Technocracy. So it's mainly about COVID and the sort of what was behind that, and he goes into the vaccines and stuff, and various related topics. Very thorough, very detailed research. I did mention him, I think, a few videos ago because he'd done research into thermite and where that sort of story came up, and found a few little bits that I hadn't found, so that was good. So again, you can consider supporting him with sending him a coffee and so forth, or you can just use the details here. I'll include links in the description. If these links don't work, please find me on Odyssey and get the links there, or find them at checktheevidence.com. All these links will be there. So yeah, David's work has been pretty thorough and detailed. He's had to be a bit cagey about Dr. Judy Wood's research to get past certain peers, but and so forth. But yeah, he deserves a lot of support here. So please consider supporting him. Moving on, a friend in Spain had sent me this video thinking it was very good. Commercial pilot reveals the truth behind chemtrails, and I was a bit skeptical at first, so I did listen to the video. I think it's let's see how long it is. It's about an hour long. Now, much as I respect Dr. David Cartland, who has been very outspoken about the vaccines and the jabs and stuff, I believe he's still working for the NHS. It looks like in this video he's in some type of consultancy room or something. But he's been very outspoken about, I think he's been dealing with lots of heart attacks and stuff. But this video about the chemtrails, well, it's pretty much the same old story. There are a few details in there. But the friend who sent me this, again, I watched this through and I listened to it quite carefully. And for example, he talks about taking these pictures of spray planes landed in Doncaster or something, but he doesn't show any of these pictures in the interview. He makes all the right noises about knowing about spraying program, and he does get a lot right, about the nature of the trails and stuff. He says he's got pictures of trails at 12,000 feet, which he doesn't show those either. So, it's just another. I think it's disinformation again. I mean, there are some legitimate spraying programs around, such as crop spraying, such as one that comes up in this video is oil slick dispersal. There may well be a company that does that and has planes on standby for that. Now, whether that's a cover for a chemtrailing program, well, I haven't seen the evidence for that. It may be, but I cover all this in my book, Global Warming and Climate Change Exposed, Hidden Evidence, Disguised Plans, and that's on checktheevidence.com. You can find that there in free download. And I go into the disinfo about chemtrails, and this really does fit that category, really, to be quite honest. So there's nothing really new here that was really shown. This guy's anonymous. We don't know his history. David Cartland thanks him for his bravery, but he's not very brave when he won't reveal himself. We don't know who he is. Whether he's committed some misdemeanor and he's been used to put out disinformation, I don't know. Make of it what you will. I could be wrong, but again, he doesn't really show anything in this video. It's all talk. So that was my overall conclusion. And then similarly, I received another article, fairly recent one, May 23rd, 2024, from Agent 131711. Again, anonymous, usual chemtrail stuff. These are all the trails. That's a William Thomas video. It's the usual stuff, really. Looks at some patents for cloud seeding and stuff like that, again, which is covered in my book, and then sort of claims that all this spraying is going on. Now, again, this is a typical scene, and we've had some weird weather in the UK. I think many countries have been experiencing weird weather in the last 6 months. So weather modification is definitely going on. That's what I cover in my book. But are chemtrails being used to modify the weather? I don't think they are. I think the chemtrails that we see are the effect of weather modification, not the cause. And there's something else going on, and I go into all of that in my book and the reason why I say that. I don't know what's going on, but this toxic spraying program doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense when they can introduce toxins in other ways, far more directly into the water supply, in drugs, as we've seen have been administered, things like this. Really, this is just some sort of crop spraying program, and they are used in the US, not so much from this sort of plane in the UK, but there are crop spraying programs, I think, in places in the UK. This is not unusual. This is not chemtrailing. This is too obvious. And this guy on Dr. David Cartland claims he's got these pictures, but he doesn't show them. And this is just used probably as a test flight or for some sort of legitimate testing program to test weather or dispersal of particulates or something. So just because you see a plane spraying stuff doesn't mean to say that there is a global chemtrail spraying program. I don't think there is, and I've gone into this at great length in my book. So again, study the evidence for yourself, come to your own conclusion. Moving on then. Again, I was contacted by a chap who's in Spain. He contacted me recently, and he basically sent me some information about a chap that's been victimized in Spain in a similar way to Richard D. Hall. I'll try and bring this text over onto the screen. I thought I'd had it, so let me just get this in the right place and bring it over. This chap wrote to me and said, if you could distribute, publish, or whatever you consider opportune about this expert in elite symbology from Spain. So this guy's been talking about the symbology of the elites. He is suffering, like Richard Hall, legal harassment by the Spanish government. He prepared the following short explanation about his situation. He's about to go to jail, and he needs at least international reach. Here is the original translated version. I am Raymond Valero, known on the internet as Technico Preoccupado. I'm a hard-working and family man whose hobby is writing a blog and making podcasts to help other people who are searching for the truth within this world. One day, this search led me to discover some alleged atrocious acts of child rape and Satanism perpetrated by high officials of a regional government in Spain. I investigated and wrote about this story that other important media had already talked about, but by reporting the facts in an orderly manner, I began to be considered on the internet as the one who had best reflected them. One day in 2016, the alleged violating officials made complaints of insults and slander to some of the small creators who had commented on the subject on the internet, but not to the renowned media. For this reason, I am currently in a case with 8 other people in which they are asking me for 40 years for allegedly having insulted and slandered personalities and a bail of €2,400,000. In these 8 years, they have entered my house and searched as if I were a criminal. They have investigated me fiscally as well as my computer devices without finding any evidence of criminality, which I have no longer recovered. The latest judicial surprise was to decree an arrest warrant for me for not being personally notified to go to trial, a procedure that took place 2 years ago, and I had a lawyer working on the case. I need help. I cannot bear the burden of so many years in which I am being bled dry with the costs of lawyers and other judicial machinery. I am innocent. I have not insulted or slandered anyone. The facts they reported are prescribed, and I only echoed previous duly verified publications from important media that have not been reported. They are trying to punish me as an example so that content creators on the internet inhibit themselves from exercising their freedom of expression and self-censor when touching sensitive content where politicians and judges are in question, as in this case. If you want to get to know me, this is my blog, and I've got the links on the next, they'll be in the description as well. I'm a normal and responsible man who only seeks the truth and the protection of the child and family. So there's some links to the original articles which were published in the mainstream Spanish media and so forth, and he's got a Twitter account there as well, so I'll try and link that as well. So you might want to support this chap and see if you can support him. Obviously there's a language barrier for many of us, including me, because I don't really speak Spanish, so you can have a look at that, and please support the guy and spread the word in Spain or among your Spanish speaking friends if you can. Okay, so that's the podcast site, and this is the blog there, which thankfully is still up, and you can see that's been auto-translated to English by Google Translate, so I haven't had a chance to read through that though. So moving on again, another person sent me this video on Facebook, which is very interesting. It's only you see, it's only 6 minutes, but it's packed with information. And you see the headline here: Invisible Ray that stops machinery, boundless possibilities, new method of projecting energy into space. And this is about Grindle Matthews, the English scientist who discovered a means of causing electrical apparatus to cease working when a certain invisible ray falls on it. So this is some type of directed energy. We're talking 1940s here. This video gives many of the details. I haven't gone and searched for text articles, but it's basically this guy was in Wales, I think somewhere near Aberystwyth, is it? It says in the Swansea. I always get Swansea. Somewhere in the Swansea Valley. So you can watch this video. This may be on YouTube too. I was sent the Facebook link, and it's Grindle Matthews. I'll try and get the YouTube version up if it's there. So I managed to find this on YouTube as well, 6 minutes long, only recently uploaded a month ago, so that's April 2024, only 811 views. It's a very well made video, so I recommend you give that a watch. And again, sort of more evidence that a lot of stuff has been known for perhaps longer than we think, and been tested as well. This guy looks a bit like Thomas Townsend Brown to me as well, so that's yeah, there you go. Anyway, right, so moving on again, staying on the energy subject, I was sent this a while ago by a chap called Tom in the US, who's been very kind to me, and this is a book by Aaron Murakami about free energy. It's called The Quantum Key, as you see here. This is available on the Internet Archive. You can get a Kindle version as well. And if you're looking for something which sort of goes through free energy and stuff and how it works, then this might be a good book to have a look at. And Tom has been looking at this uh, uh, person who's been working on the Bedini motors, or a reproduction of. Again, I'll try and get one of his videos up while I remember this. So this chap who's been doing Bedini motor reproductions is Rick Friedrich, as you see here, and you can look at lots of videos on his YouTube channel. I haven't had a chance to watch these yet, but again, he's sort of verifying what John Bedini was doing, which is using one battery to charge another using a special motor which captures a small amount of radiant energy. I covered this in my Infinite Energy talk many years ago, and this guy is just kind of doing another reproduction of it, really. So you can have a look at that. Apparently he sells kits. This is on another website. I'll try and include the link for that as well. So I featured this page on Check the Evidence quite a few years ago, and this was what the Bedini motor was developed into. This battery reconditioner, I forget the name of it. It was, and you can also buy the plans to make your own Bedini motors, buy kits and so forth. I don't know how much of this is still live, but apparently Rick Friedrich is still selling these kits. So again, I'll leave you to investigate that if you want to. I haven't built any motor parts or anything. I don't really have the space or all the tools to do it. I don't really have a workshop here. So but yeah, I mean, there was the channel called Daft Man. He did it as well, and then his shed got burnt down and things, or wherever he was doing it. That was I think at least 10 years ago. I featured this guy, this Lancashire chap called Daft Man, in one of my videos. I'd never met him. I never got to know his real name, but his videos were very good, showing how to make Bedini motors. Okay, so moving on again. Another video that was sent to me before the last video I made, actually, so this is like probably 6 weeks ago, was to do with infrared light treatment being used to treat dementia and Alzheimer's. And this, I think, is quite a recent video, but I have a feeling the actual recording might be older than that. But this is Dr. Paul Chazot, and he's been working on this for 20 years, actually using a special type of helmet to treat people without drugs for Alzheimer's. And he goes into quite a lot of detail as to how this works. This is sort of he's a mainstream scientist, but of course he's shunned because his therapy is not really drugs based, and it doesn't really fit any of the models that have been used in conventional therapies. Now, in the video, I think he shows how this has treated people successfully, and he says one of the people that was involved was the author Terry Pratchett, who wrote all the Discworld novels. Now, Terry Pratchett got Alzheimer's, and he said that this device was used to treat Pratchett, and he then wrote, I think, 4 bestsellers while he was under treatment. It's somewhere in this video. I can't find it at the minute, but you can watch this video and look at it for yourself. This guy seems fairly unassuming, very humble, the sort of speaker that I like. So again, I hope you get some use out of that. Maybe this becomes more widely known. It will help more people. So moving on once more then now to this. About 2 weeks ago, we had a very big solar storm. In fact, 5 coronal mass ejections happened within, I think, a day or two, and they were generated by this sunspot group AR3664. You can watch this video. It's a mainstream video, but the question there, did we live through an actual Carrington event? Now, this Carrington event, you can research that, but this was an event which happened in the 1800s, late 1800s, and it actually set telegraph wires on fire because of the induced current from the strength of the solar flare that hit the Earth. And many people were predicting that this would, be like an EMP attack and destroy a lot of electronics, and cooling systems around nuclear power plants would go out and stuff. But this set of CMEs, coronal mass ejections, seemed to be almost as big as a Carrington event, but the effects seem to be much less severe, and this Anton Petrov goes through that. But why I wanted to mention this was he talks about some scientific research that was conducted about 8-9 years ago, which predicted that there would be a solar storm like this in 2024, based on the idea that the sun's cycle is actually 22 years, not 11 years. And this research also predicts another big solar storm, perhaps even bigger than the one we just had in 2025. So, we'll see if that comes to fruition. We may get auroral displays. Unfortunately, I missed all the auroras because I was asleep. You had to be out at 11 o'clock at night to see them, or when you're in full darkness, really. And I generally go to bed before then, so I didn't see them. But they were seen in Africa as well, very far south. The biggest solar storm for 500 years, apparently, or certainly the aurora part of it. They were seen way down south, in Florida and places like that. So you can watch that video. It explains what auroras are and how they think they happen and stuff like that. So that's in the links too. So finally then, another great video which I watched, a longer one. This is an hour and a half long, called Megaliths Forgotten World. This was really fantastic. And what it basically does is it looks at the layout of monoliths, particularly in France, in a place called Karnak, and there are amazing megaliths, amazing sets of megaliths in France, all in a line. I mean, there's a whole kind of forest of them almost at Karnak, and the group that this chap's been working with, he has been to these places and he studied them for years. I'll try and find the actual picture of the more than a line. I think it's along that line of which is the 3-4-5 side of the triangle, and he talks about the relationship of 3-4-5, which is the Pythagorean triangle, and what that all means in terms of the layout of the monoliths. And this is a really well made video, lots of good music, lots of good thoughts, and the key takeaway for me was that he argues that we are the link between the cosmos and the Earth, as in we can see the cosmos out in front of us in the stars, in the way that the sun rises and moves around the Earth. And the monolith, people who put down the monoliths understood all of this and brought that kind of configuration of stones matched to the sun's movements to the Earth, so that we join the cosmos to the Earth, human beings do. And that the way that is discussed, I think is really quite moving, really. And he talks about how it connects with the pyramids and the proportions of the king's chamber in the pyramids, and so forth. So this is some of the monoliths at Karnak here, and they all align to various other monoliths in that area, which have all got solstice significance. And you can see some of this line here, and it's like, I don't know, it's about 3 miles long or something of these stones. There's thousands of them, so it's much more extensive than what we've got in the UK. So I highly recommend this as an evening's viewing for you, or an afternoon's viewing. It's really interesting, very well made, good music, good narration, good information. So on that sort of subject, the consciousness subject, I'm going to finish with this video that somebody sent me. It's only like 6 minutes long or something, and this is about how humans used to be victims, and prey and stuff. And it describes a scenario where a human being is preyed upon by a large bird, a giant pterodactyl or something like that, and another human is preyed upon by crocodiles. But then this is before the age of fire, and the age of fire comes. Man discovers fire, is given the how to make fire, and it's the fire which then makes us into what we are and gives us a way of protecting ourselves, and none of the animals will come near the fire. So the fire protects us, the flame protects us, and that flame, we became aware of that when our consciousness, was awoken, and this flame of consciousness also started. And it mentions Manly P. Hall as well, who I spoke about in one of the previous videos. So I'll leave you with all those links, many links there I know to look at. Should keep you busy for a while. and I've been having trouble keeping up recently, so that's why this video is so long. But with that, I will say thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and share any of this as you see fit, and I'll talk to you again sometime later on. Bye for now.